they're decorating, so
I
that's
saw someone
what's-
decorating, but the person I think is in England, and I was like, it's just November. What's the
yes,
rush?
that's when it starts. That
Apparently,
feeling.
yeah.
I've started singing carols, so maybe that
Okay,
counts.
okay. But I know before from October, you see people have started their Christmas shopping.
Yes.
You see Christmas deals already. Have you seen that this year?
I've seen some of that. For example, my mother, she starts shopping October because of how things, increase in December.
So that's what we will be talking about in the lifestyle segment. It's 6 weeks to Christmas. How are we preparing? What's the market saying? What are Nigerians doing at this point in time? And joining us for this conversation,
We have Victoria Etrobo. Good morning. Welcome to the show. She is a business lawyer and strategist. And of course, we also have Alero Oyerinde, who is the CEO, Charis Beacon. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Morning.
Let's start
you.
with you, Alero. Going straight to it, I hear you sell rice.
Yes.
That means we're expecting Christmas rice. But
Probably.
what's the market saying compared to, say, the last 3 years before COVID, and now that we're in recovery of sorts, but we're now poor, mostly as a country and as a people. Have there been any changes this year compared to what this season feels like in the business?
Yes, there has been lots of changes before COVID, after COVID, and presently lots of changes in prices of goods. I would actually say that there has been a steep surge of food prices,
Yeah.
and our foodstuff has become erratic in its nature, in the sense that it's no longer predictable. And when we see that come up in terms of our food items, it doesn't just happen like that. There are factors that have forced it to appear that way. And some of those factors, I'll just be mentioning a few. Some of those factors include times and seasons. For instance, we are in the Ember season, or let's call it the festive season, where people are preparing for Christmas and all of that. So it has this effect on food items. It has a way of pushing foodstuffs up because
Higher demand.
sellers know that the demand at this particular period will be high. For instance, rice is a primary staple consuming product. Is the second largest consuming product in the world. So if we look at each household, you will definitely find rice. So this festive season, everybody wants to get rice, and so because of that, there's pressure on this particular product, rice, to go up. Then, apart from the festive season, currently we are facing a natural disaster, flood. But this flood, if we look at it, it's something that has been predicted. I learned that years back, about the year 1996, Cameroon had a conversation with Nigeria. They were going to build a dam, and they had this conversation with Nigeria to build a counter dam, so that when water flows from their dam, it doesn't affect the country, Nigeria, because the position of the dam was facing Nigeria. So they advised the leadership of Nigeria at that time to build a counter dam so that the effect does not lead to something out of control. We agreed, but we're not proactive. Our leaders did not take proactive measures. And so now we are facing the consequences of, our not being proactive in years past. So this flood issue now also is putting pressure on rice, not just rice alone, a lot of food products. It's putting pressure on our food items to go up. At this particular season, this is the harvest season for rice, so the price is supposed to go down.
Yeah.
I talked about times and seasons. It has a way of affecting prices of goods. This is the season for rice, for farmers to harvest. And when it comes to harvest season, the prices go down. But because of this flood issue, it has put pressure, it has put pressure on the price of rice. So the effect is is it has produced a ripple effect on the product. Let me just put it like that. Using a comparative analysis between last year and this year, like you said, I sell rice. As at this time last year, I was selling rice for about 25,000. Rice was going for about 25,000, but now Nigerian rice goes for about 40,000 naira. So that's about 60% increase. So a lot of factors, petroleum products, which affects transportation, forces it to go up. So many.
So what you're saying is that most of this, it's all about a ripple effect.
Yes.
When this affects this affects this, and it affects the final consumer
Yes.
in the end. Okay. So as a business strategist, Victoria,
Yes.
what can Nigerians do to survive this upcoming surge in prices, particularly food items, in the festive season?
Nigerians can shop early, like your mom. Nigerians can, first of all, shop early. Nigerians can multiply their streams of income, because with rising prices in food items and other, it's not just rice, every other thing in the market. For instance, something you bought, say, 4,000 naira a carton, yesterday in the market was 5,000 naira.
You know what? I bought Indomie yesterday, and I remember when the carton was 1.8, and it cost me over 5,000 naira for the small
Yeah,
pack.
imagine that. Now, one piece of, or one pack of spaghetti used to cost 380, and everybody was, why? Yesterday, it cost 480. So you can imagine, and this ripple effect, as she has explained, will also put pressure on our income. So what Nigerians can do is to multiply their streams of income. They'll have to create more ways to generate income in order to meet these bills, because these bills are not going to reduce. And then you have things like electricity tariffs going up, even the data that you spend on your phone going up, the amount of money that you spend to make calls before is not how it is today. So if you're going to survive this season, besides shopping early, thanks to the wisdom of your mother and a lot of our mothers too, you'll have to also increase your streams of income. Do a business, convert your skill, offer your skill for money. You know, it can be, you are an OAP, for instance. You know, you can do other things like master of ceremony, depending on where it is, to meet up with that cost. All right, because these costs are not going away.
Talking about costs, from the business angle,
Yes.
people's spending power has reduced over time. And so people, I remember before, when you want to buy spaghetti, you choose a particular brand, but now you
Yes.
just go for the cheapest. You know what I
What's
mean?
more
And
affordable.
so for people, for business people such as her, do you advise them to increase prices or reduce quantity, or leave prices as it is and reduce quality? Because they also need to turn a profit.
Exactly. Well, I will not advise that we reduce quality. Quality will have worse effects on our health. Quality would, but if you're still going to have more people buying, then what I noticed that business people are already doing is reducing the quantity
Okay.
in order to keep the price. But as long as we still have long queues, we still have not tackled this flooding affecting movement from one place to the other, that aspect of reducing the cost is not likely. So they can consider reducing the quantity to retain the same price, or, and even then, that still affects the end user, because it means that I have to buy more to meet up with my demand. All right, so if a pack of spaghetti, for instance, used to feed 3 persons at home, then it means I'll have to buy 2 packs to feed the same 2. So the cost really doesn't change for the end user, but for the business person who owns these businesses, who is selling out these products, they would have to just keep the price the way they are. Yes, to meet up with costs. Yesterday I had an interesting experience, and that was a woman who came to the market to buy bulk quantity of stuff. She sells as a retailer, and when she got in there and they told her the price, she was agab, like, I just finished selling at 4.6. I've been selling at 4.50, and now I can't even afford to buy it from the market. And the man said, well, you can bring that one, I'll buy at 4.60. You know, that's the person she was coming to buy bulk to go and sell. Said, you can bring what you already have, I'll buy. But so even if you reduce the quantity in order to keep the price so that people can still buy, it will still affect the end user. So which one works to cover your costs is what you do based on your research. Whichever covers their costs and still keeps them profitable will be the best decision to make, because one business differs from the decision that one business has to make will definitely differ from the other.
Going back to what you said about Nigerians having multiple sources of income, multiple streams of income, Alera, I don't know, do you agree with that? Is that a practical solution, particularly seeing our society today? Large rates of unemployment, people can't get jobs, can't raise their businesses from the ground, can't start actually. Is that a practical solution? Would you say that?
Yes, it is. It's a practical solution. For me as a person, I have multiple streams of income. My focus is the food industry, so I don't only sell rice, I sell other food products, because I discovered that sometimes rice booms, it does very well, and sometimes sales is poor. So I decided, okay, why don't I invest in some other products, you know? And then she mentioned something, apart from having multiple streams of income, Nigerians can take advantage of shopping early. I would say Nigerians can take advantage of storage.
Yes.
I do storage because these food products, they have their seasons. I sell egusi. Egusi has its season when the price is low. That's the harvest time, the price drops. So Nigerians can let them make researches. When will this particular food stuff come down? They can take advantage of that period and store. I do that. So when it goes up, you make more money. That's for we, the business people. When it goes up, we are at an advantage to make profits. But for the end users, they are at an advantage to, to have availability or have access of that particular product anytime they want and at a very good price.
Okay, go on.
And then as regards the multiple streams of income, I'm a businesswoman, but I still work. So it has a cushioning effect on the cost of living, because like she said, expenses keep going up, the bills keep accumulating, so we have to think. That's where entrepreneurs come up. We have to think, how can you turn your skills, how can you turn your gifts, how can you turn your ideas into cash? Gone are those days that you just sit down in one office from 8 a.m. to 5 a.m., You have to think, okay, if you're a salary earner, on Saturdays you can put your Saturdays to work. Think about things that you can do aside from that salary that you're getting that can generate you cash. There's a particular family I know of, husband and wife work, but whenever the wife is a teacher, whenever the school is on break, she goes to farm. She got a plot of land to farm. Husband and wife go to farm. So that alone has covered the food aspects, the food expenses of that household. So it's Nigerians, we need to wake up. Our national anthem says, "Arise, O compatriots." Compatriots talks about fellow citizens. Nigeria's call, obey. Everybody can see what is going on in the country. Everybody has seen the signs. Nigeria's call. It's time for Nigerians to arise and think, what can I do to solve some of the problems in this country. Leadership starts from us. That is, we taking responsibility. What can I do as a person to improve the standard of living of my family? Instead of complaining, things are going up. There's what we can do if we look inwards.
So it's good that you bring that in, Alara, and I respect the conversation with both of you where I see a lot of ownership, where it's for us to take ownership, for the people to take ownership, and however, we have people whose sworn duty is to ensure that we survive, to protect us, and by protecting us it also means protecting the economy.
Yes.
So I'll let you end this session by talking, Victoria, by talking about what should government do? Because we've spoken about what people should do. Some business people have complained about ease of business not really being ease of business for them. Some people will tell you they have 3-4 jobs, but it's still not paying their bills. Some people have one proper job and they'll tell you their take-home salary is not taking them home. We have people who regulate and manage the economy. What do you have to say to government? Because no matter how we try, they have a responsibility as well.
Exactly. Now, what the government can do is take proactive measures. Now we know that our country will be bedeviled by flooding unless we do something. Then we do what needs to be done. Build the dam. Don't say there's no money. You are in government to know how to generate this money, where to get this money from, without keeping 10 generations after in debt. You know what to do. So do that. Secondly, government can regulate these prices. For instance, even though we have the reason why we have hike in fuel prices is not necessarily because these products are not available in some fuel stations. These products are available, but sometimes they are hoarded. There are fuel stations that you know that at a certain time of the day they have fuel. Then all of a sudden they'll be locked up for 2-3 days, and then the next time they are open, the whole place is full. Those are tactics by marketers. So government has a job to regulate, go inspecting, monitoring, ensuring that all the NNPC stations are open, they are supplied. They know how to get these products to those NNPC stations and make sure that if for nothing, these stations are supplying back to back in all the locations where they are open. Imagine NNPC stations not being open. There are many areas within the city of Abuja and environs where NNPC, that's government stations, are not open. Why? Who is in charge of making sure that these people are supplying? Then they can also go, we have bodies that regulate prices of different, for instance now, we're talking about food shortage. We have government-sponsored storages where food items are stored. Can these food items be released to the market so that it will also bring down, because the reason why cost goes high is because demand is not meeting supply. But if supply is increased, then it will meet up with the demand and force the prices to go down. So what's happening to the food in our storages? Or is the government going to say that there's no food in the storage? These hikes are because the supply is low. So government authorities can ensure that they get into, ensure that these storages are opened up and food is put in the market to meet this supply and force those prices to go down. And then fourthly, government can enlighten the public more on what to do in certain circumstances, whether they are farmers or they are consumers. Now, it is one thing to open the storage and send food into the market. It is another thing for you and I to access that one that is put in by government. So government will need to go out of its way to, through the NOA, the National Orientation Agency, enlighten the public on what or where to find these produces, and also provide what is needed to be provided. Some of the cost, the rise in cost of things, is not just in what we are talking about. We have manufacturers suffering from policies that are affecting their production. So those who are the policy makers or policy implementers, because we have those groups of people in government, should step into the manufacturing, have meetings with stakeholders and implement their recommendations. Because it's not enough to have bogus big meetings and have decisions and memoranda and all kinds of recommendations on white papers. What is important is implementing those things, taking them step by step. The problem that I see is that in implementation, I find policy implementers trying to do everything at once. You know, that's when it becomes a problem. For instance, you want to wash your clothes, you bring all of them. You see the sight of all of them makes you scared. Even to put all of them in the machine, so even disturbs the machine itself. You do them, you take them one chunk after the other. Good enough, we have different areas of government and with different policy makers and implementers. So these people need to rise up to their responsibility and do these things. In fact, do these things. In fact, ensure that food is supplied from the storage. In fact, ensure that the next planting season, more volume is done. Whatever needs to be done to correct the effect of the flood, whether it is to supply fertilizers on time, whether it is to provide funding to farmers, you know, under whatever scheme is done. Everything should be done proactively, promptly,
Victoria,
so that we don't suffer this
I think that's
year.
a good place to
Thank you.
leave it. Thank you, Victoria and Alera, for your
you.
contribution
Thank you.
to
Thank
this
you.
segment. And shout out to your mom for shopping early. Let's not to them.
And inspiring all of us.
While we talk about the factors affecting this, we'll also be digging